Welcome back. Another day working on the FXR. Today I've got all the tools I need to actually be able to take the primary drive apart. So my goal is to be able to get the guts out of it, get the inner primary taken apart, get the rest of the starter disassembled, and then see how much time I have left for the rest of the day. This is my main goal for today and the main focus. So I have all of my tools laid out and I'm ready to start disassembly. So follow along. We'll get this primary taken apart today, get the primary drive out and the clutch basket and the compensator apart, and get those things ready to sell. Let's start by removing this snap ring first. And then from there, I'm going to remove these studs. It's another rainy, cold day here in Michigan, so I've got all the bikes in the shop today. A little cramped for space right now. I was hoping those weren't going to fall out. Clutch plates look pretty fresh. Look like they've been recently replaced, and maybe they have been, I'm not exactly sure. But from here we'll get the right size socket on this nut, and then we'll get the front compensator nut undone. And then we'll go through and we'll remove the actual clutch basket itself. So let me find that and we'll be right back. Always remember when you're doing these clutch baskets, these are a reverse thread. So you're actually spinning the nut in reverse. A lot of times people will forget that, you know, get on it with an impact and find that they're going the wrong direction and actually ruin the shaft. You always have to think of this one as reverse and this one is standard. We'll go through and we'll get the front compensator taken off now. And honestly, if you don't have one of these Milwaukee impacts, I have to say that this has been the best tool that I've purchased yet. This thing seems to be pretty unstoppable. And I know I've said that in videos in the past, but I really enjoy it. It's nice to be able to sit here and do this with a battery operated tool rather than air, which I've run into issues with air in the past where it didn't have enough volume to actually be able to remove the compensator nut or even the clutch hub nut. So it's nice to have a tool that I can recharge over and over again and does the job just great. One of these days I'll label this clutch hub puller so I can remember which ones are which hub. I often get hung up in this spot trying to figure out what goes where. With the clutch hub puller in place, I'm now ready to actually pull the clutch basket off. And just like that, the clutch basket is removed. I have to say that this puller is probably one of my favorite tools. It's been used a lot, and I've got a couple of them, but I always enjoy using it. It just makes this process that much easier. Alright, and with that we will remove the chain tensioner here, and we should be all set. There we are. The assembly is ready to be removed. I have to say that this primary is super clean on the inside, and it's actually a factory primary. It's a 606-75-85, so it is a Harley Davidson primary. It is super nice inside. I don't see any excessive wear or anything. Again, this was a low mileage bike, so this is, typical of a bike that hasn't seen a ton of, time on the road and is in awesome shape. And this bike is in really nice shape for what it is. So thankfully, the parts are, coming apart really easily because they are in such good shape. This bike wasn't beat on a whole bunch and ridden a million miles and not really taken care of. It looks like it was very well cared for, so that makes taking all this stuff apart even easier. We'll go through and fold all the lock tabs down and then get everything unbolted and see if we can get this primary off. Alright, with everything out of the way, I should be able to zip these off real fast and loosen this primary up. I know some of these bolt from the back side too, and I'm not sure if this is one of those models. I'll have to look underneath and see if there's a stud on the back side. I don't know that there is, but there could be. It might be on the back side of this transmission right here. Alright, that takes care of all the studs in there. I believe I have to remove this collar in order to get the shaft out. Maybe that'll come off with it. But let's see if there's a nut on the back side of this. Doesn't feel like there is. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't come off, so I think we're going to try to pull on it a little bit here, maybe pry on it a little. See if we can get the inner primary and the engine to separate right here. That wants to separate, so what am I missing? Ah, there's a nut right there on the back side. I thought there may be. So I have to get underneath and get that undone. Not quite sure if there's enough room to get a ratcheting wrench back there, but we're going to give it a shot. That would make it easier. Honestly, it appears like I'll have an easier time getting to it from the back side, the opposite side. So I'm going to switch sides here. Okay, with that bolt being removed, I should be able to take off the inner primary. It should come off the rest of the way, I do believe. I don't think there's anything else holding it in place. Oh, that was the piece. So what was hanging us up was this back bottom bolt right here. And it looked like the grounding strap actually hooked to that too, or there was a wire hooked to it as well. I'm not exactly sure if it was the ground or what it was, but that was hooked to the back side, so that was what was hanging us up. It's covered in a lot of grime from underneath. So that made it a little difficult to see. But now with that out of the way, we should be able to pull the shift linkage for sure today. And I still don't believe I have enough room to get that starter drive out. I think my oil tank's in the way. Being that I haven't messed with a whole lot of these, I understood it that the starter drive hooked to the back of the casing of the inner primary, just like it does on a shovel head. Unfortunately, this hooks to the transmission, which still doesn't leave me a whole lot of room to work with over here. I may see if I can pull this wire up and see if I can get a little bit of extra room here to be able to pull the starter. I'm not sure if I can or can't. Part of the goal for today is to get the starter out. Oh, I guess I did have just enough room. Not sure what I was hung up on before, but I was able to get it. Maybe it was because the starter drive was in the way. So now with that free, I can see the next steps that I'll need to take will be getting the transmission and the motor ready to pull. So I know I need to go through and drain the oil, get the fluids out of it. Once I have that done, then I can work on disassembling the rest of the motorcycle. But for today, this is where I was hoping to get. I was hoping to be able to get the inner primary drive separated, get the inner primary taken off, and then get the starter out. So I'm thankful for that. Now that I have those couple of parts out, I'm going to go through and see what other things I can button up. I'd like to be able to get this brake master out. I'm not sure if I have enough room to do that or what that entails. I may clip a few wires here and see if we can get that to come out the rest of the way. It's close. I've been removing parts and pieces, and as I've done that, everything is loose and hanging now, so this is really close to being able to be taken out. So with that said, I'm going to grab my clippers, I'm going to clip these few zip ties that are in place here, and see what wires I can move out of the way to be able to pull this reservoir and line through, or the master the opposite way. One way or the other, I'd like to be able to get this unit pulled today, so that's just another thing that I have done. And then if I can get this brake lever mount pulled as well, get that out, that'd be another nice thing to have out of the way. So let's get my clippers and see if we can get this yanked. Thinking one of the things I'm going to do is remove this brake line real quick if I can. And that should give me enough room to separate the two and get everything kind of moved where I want it to be. So I'm going to put one of these studs back in place real quick here just to hold it so I can undo the brake line. One quarter of a turn at a time, I guess. I knew I was going to lose brake fluid out of it. That was the part I didn't want to do. I didn't want to make a giant mess. But I haven't drained any of the fluids really. So there's still a ton of brake fluid in this thing. Not exactly sure what path of least resistance is at this point. It may be the other way. We're going to try going up and out. that gets that out of the way. This has been a fun project. I've really enjoyed taking this bike apart. It's nice to be able to see where some of these parts and pieces are laid out on the newer modern motorcycles. Modern in terms to the bikes I typically deal with. I've sold a lot of these parts and I know what their functions are, but sometimes you don't exactly know how they lay out, how they fit with the motorcycle. The rear brake master being mounted here and the reservoir being mounted up is a neat design. I've seen it, obviously I didn't know all of its ins and outs, but now I do. So I'm thankful for that. This journey's been a lot of fun, honestly. It's been neat to be able to go through this bike and take it apart piece by piece and see how it was made, what engineering went into it, and what makes sense. And some things that don't. Obviously, you run into things you're like, why in the world would they do that? One of the things that I found on this bike that was different that I've seen in books but never seen in person was the oil filter on the back side of the transmission. It's a neat design. I'm not sure if they still do that, if that's something that was a few years only. I don't remember seeing it on any other models, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure that there are other models out there that have this type of design, and I'm sure you guys know all about that. But anyway, as always, I appreciate you guys watching and following along. Stay tuned. The next few steps are going to be fun. You're getting the motor and transmission ready to be removed. So with that, I'll be draining the fluids and getting all of the things that are in the way out of the way. Of course, if you like these types of videos, please feel free to subscribe. I appreciate the subscriptions and the subscribers that are following along with my channel and seeing these types of projects come along. I do have the 48WL. I'm waiting on some more parts to come in so I can put a few more things on that. I did send the transmissions out today, so they're heading to Texas. I received 2 transmissions with that bike, so I have worked out a deal to trade one for the work, or mostly for the work. We'll see how that actually comes together. I'm hoping that all pans out real well. We'll see. With that being said, that bike is kind of on hold right now as parts are coming in and transmissions are being built. I do need to get the motor apart the rest of the way and see exactly what that needs. I'm not sure what all it needs inside. I have not been inside of it. The previous owner did tell me that the motor was rebuilt. Obviously, in seeing how much play side to side or in the connecting rods, the motor has not been rebuilt. And if it has, it's not been done properly. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking through to the end and seeing the video. Please give the video a like, share with your friends, and as always, we'll see you next time.